Welcome to another episode of Moving to DMV. I am your host, Kay, and I'm not going to waste too much time. I'm going to give you the pros and cons of living in Reston, Virginia. If this sort of content is your thing, please hit that little subscribe button, hit the little bell icon, leave a comment, let me know what you think. And as always, help me do them big numbers. We are going to get right into it. Number one, the first pro of living in Reston, Virginia is the quality of life. Now, Reston, Virginia is definitely known for its quality of life. It is in the suburbs of Washington, D.C. So you do have the ability to get into the city pretty quickly, but you have the parks, the serene lakes. You have a lot of walking trails. You have a lot of amenities that are offered with living in Reston. And you get a lot of amenities as far as gyms, restaurants, and all sorts of stuff that you can do when it comes to the actual area itself. The second and my favorite thing is that Reston is definitely a melting pot of the Northern Virginia area. And it is a melting pot of diverse cultures. And there's a lot of people from a lot of different backgrounds in this area. And that creates a dynamic and vibrant community that I am absolutely thrilled to be a part of. Let me tell you, what that means is there is some really good food in Reston. So if you're hungry, it's not a bad place to be. Now, the other thing is public transportation. Now, recently, Reston, Virginia has just opened up the Silver Line. All the stations in Reston for the Silver Line are up and running, which means you can jump on the metro and take it all the way into the center of Washington, D.C., and you could get from here to there in about 30 minutes. Not only the metro, but there is a fantastic bus system in Reston. It can get you all over Northern Virginia. Now, if public transportation is something that you are looking forward to, then Reston, Virginia is a great place for that. Number four, education. Now, I talked about the education of Fairfax County in my other pros and con video. Go ahead and watch that. But in Reston, Virginia, there is definitely a huge success as far as graduation rates, and it is definitely part of the top schooling system in Northern Virginia. And there's a lot of pride that is taken by Reston when it comes to its school systems, especially its public school systems. There are also a lot of private schools if that is something that you are interested in. Now, you want to know, well, why should I avoid this area? Well, let me tell you some of the cons. And the first is, let's just get the elephant out of the room now. The first con of living in Reston is the cost of living. Reston's cost of living is, in fact, on the higher side of things. And let me tell you, it is higher than the national average. Housing prices can be steep and potentially strain your budget. Like if you're not ready to commit to a property in Reston, Virginia, or even a rental property, it can be difficult if it's something that you are trying to budget for. Now, the other thing is traffic. Like I said, because Reston has such fantastic public transportation, it is there because traffic is not the best. Now, relative to Arlington, Alexandria, or Washington, D.C., it's not that bad, but it can get congested, especially around rush hour. And, navigating the town can be a little confusing if you're trying to get from one side of Reston to the other. There's like a North Reston, South Reston. There's a lot of nuance to it. But overall, it can be a little tricky, and you might need to call somebody or look up where you're going on the GPS to get there at a reasonable time because it does take a little bit of time. The other thing is competition for housing. This kind of ties into the cost of living. So with all the pros of Reston, the amenities, the trails, the education system, it means that Reston can be a competitive endeavor when it comes to searching for your dream home. The location is very, very desirable. The ability to get to Washington, D.C., while also having the peacefulness of the suburbs makes it so that you get into multiple offer situations, you get into a competition with other buyers in this area. It's very, very important that if you are considering purchasing a property in Reston, Virginia, you are decisive and you are quick. And lastly, as I've mentioned, Reston is a suburb. It is a suburban town of Washington, D.C., which means that It is not known for its nightlife. There's not a lot of hustle and bustle as far as Reston, Virginia is concerned, compared to, 15, 20 minutes east of here in Alexandria, Arlington, all those areas. Reston is kind of quiet. Now, that doesn't mean there aren't any bars or restaurants that you can go to and kind of go explore. It just means that if you're looking for a night out, it's not going to happen in the same capacity as if you were to go down to DC and have a good time. Now, that's not a bad thing. Sometimes a quieter night can be a good thing. Some of us might need to stay inside, if you know what I mean. So there you have it. That is all of the pros and cons of Reston, Virginia from somebody that is a Northern Virginia native. I hope that this has provided you some value, and be sure to click on that little subscribe button. Watch my other videos if you're curious about the area. And thanks. I appreciate you. Appreciate you helping me do these big numbers.